A lot of people think that belief is power. They think if you believe hard enough, things will just bend in your favor, that confidence reshapes reality. It doesn't. Reality doesn't negotiate. Outcomes don't care what you believe. They don't care how confident you are. They don't care how sincere your intentions are. They respond to what's true. You can believe that you're doing enough. You can believe your idea is solid. You can believe you're right and still be wrong. Not because you're bad, but because belief doesn't change facts. Truth exists whether you agree with it or not. And this shows up in everything. It shows up in music, it shows up in sports, business, culture, politics. You don't have to believe something for it to be true. Reality doesn't require your permission. Now, I want to be clear before it gets twisted. I'm not saying that mindset doesn't matter. I think the opposite, in fact. What you think matters. Thoughts shape your behavior, and then behavior shapes consistency. Consistency creates outcomes. In that sense, belief is powerful. But belief does not replace reality, it only determines how you interact with it. So, you can think positively and still be misaligned. You can manifest effort and still aim at the wrong thing. Mindset helps you show up. Reality decides whether what you're doing works. And this matters more now than ever because we live in a time where belief is treated like truth, where saying something confidently is mistaken for being right. But confidence doesn't change outcomes, alignment does. Belief is internal and truth is external. So, belief is how you feel about something. Truth is what happens when that belief hits the real world. This is why you can dislike something and you can still be wrong about it. Take music. You don't have to like Kanye West to acknowledge reality. You can disagree with him. You can hate his personality. You can hate his politics. But reality tells us something that's very clear. The music shifted culture. It influenced an entire generation. It moved the numbers. It created copycats. That's not an opinion, that's an outcome. Reality doesn't care how you feel about the artist, it reports the impact. The same thing happens in sports. So, for LeBron, you don't have to believe LeBron is the greatest of all time. You don't have to like his style. But reality shows longevity, dominance, influence, numbers. You can argue preference all day. You can't argue outcome. Belief is subjective. Truth leaves a paper trail. Most people don't resist truth because they're dumb. They resist it because truth threatens identity. If the outcome is wrong, then maybe the belief was wrong. And if the belief was wrong, then maybe they were wrong. That's uncomfortable. So instead of adjusting, people just defend. They explain, they rationalize, they attack the messenger. You see, this is constant online. Someone builds something that works. Instead of studying it, people explain why it shouldn't work. They moralize it, they dismiss it, they turn belief into armor. This is why debates go nowhere. This is why politics is frozen. This is why culture gets stuck. Belief becomes something to protect, not something to test. And once belief is untouchable, growth stops. And here's the part people really struggle with. Reality isn't emotional. Reality isn't, it's not judging you. Reality is not rewarding effort. It's not punishing mistakes. Reality is mechanical, like gravity, like math, like physiology. You don't get extra credit for trying hard. You don't get partial credit for intention. You either match the inputs or you didn't. A lot of people believe that if something should work, it eventually will. That if they care enough, reality will meet them halfway. But reality doesn't do that. It just reports back every time. In business, I've seen people who genuinely cared. They worked long hours. They believed what they were building. They weren't lazy, but the offer just didn't make sense. The system leaked, the math didn't work, and every month the numbers told them the same story. Reality wasn't punishing them, it was just reporting back. The inputs didn't match the outcome that they wanted. Fitness is the same. Someone believes they train hard. They believe they eat pretty well. They believe they're consistent, but the body doesn't change. Not because the system is unfair, not because the genetics are broken, but because the inputs aren't aligned. The body doesn't argue; it just responds. Reality doesn't shame; it just gives you feedback. And the question is whether you listen to the feedback. And this is why reality always wins at scale. You can believe whatever you want in isolation, but systems expose truth. That's why social media platforms don't care about opinions, they care about behavior. They care about retention, they care about time spent, they care about conversions. That's why some apps win even when people say that they hate them. Reality says people keep using them. That's not belief, that's data. And you can see this with artists too. People claim culture is tired of something. Then the numbers turn around and they disagree. The streams are up, the sales are up, the tours are up. Reality always leaves receipts. Belief disappears under repetition. Truth compounds. And this is the biggest difference that I've seen over time. People who win don't argue with reality. They interrogate it. They measure. They adjust. They don't defend the plan. They update it. They're not attached to being right. They're attached to being aligned. That's why great artists evolve. That's why great athletes adapt. That's why great businesses pivot early. They don't just protect their beliefs, they test them. And most people ask, do I believe this? People who win ask, is this true? And if it's not true, then they change the inputs, not their identity, not their self worth, just the inputs. And that's not negativity, that's discipline. Now, belief can motivate you, it can help you start, but belief doesn't decide the outcome. Reality does. Truth doesn't need your agreement, it doesn't need your confidence. Truth doesn't need your permission. It just keeps responding to inputs and over and over and over and over again. And the people who move forward aren't the ones who just believed the hardest. They're the ones who check reality the fastest. They don't argue with feedback. They don't protect their beliefs that no longer serve them. They adjust, they realign, they move. If you want better outcomes, stop asking whether something just feels right. Start asking whether or not is if it's working. Because reality doesn't care what you believe, it responds to what you do. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner things start to change.